as Lubiriha Mpondwe Secondary School. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members of Parliament, at the sitting of the Third Parliament of Uganda held on Tuesday 20th June 2023, Parliament directed the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs to issue a statement that was yesterday, 21st, but because of the circumstances that entailed here, I'm presenting it on 22nd June 2023 about these Kasese killings by ADF. And I wish to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, for according government and my ministry this opportunity to make this statement. Allow me, Right Honorable, to bring to date all the members about what has been happening all through, briefly, so that we are together, we share the same knowledge about these terrorist attacks. On 13th November 1996, ADF, that time, which was 1,200 strong, all armed by President Mobutu of DRC and Bashir of Sudan, attacked Mpondwe and occupied it for 4 days. The plan of Bashir that time was, as he was already supporting LRA in northern Uganda, to be able to flank us from behind by capturing Kasese airstrip for their group's supply of arms and weapons to collapse the NRM government. We mobilized, and in 4 days we killed 400 of them. Therefore, we failed their plan, and they only managed to just occupy Mpondwe in Kasese for the 4 days I've mentioned, as they were blocked by a small force there. But when we mobilized ourselves, they gave up their mission of capturing of Kasese town and airstrip, and resorted to turning to terrorism by killing people and forcing them into internally displaced camps, IDPs. They also disappeared and occupied the mountain areas of Kasese and Kabalole. Right Honorable Speaker and members, between 1996 and 2007, they were in those mountain and rural areas where we were fighting them, and they tried running to Chibale and Bunyaruguru. By 2007, we had defeated them completely. They then resorted to bombing towns and adopt guerrilla attacks or tactics. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the city and town bombings also quickly got controlled, and they all retreated to DRC, where they were allowed by the government of President Kabila. A team of 100 strong tried to enter and disorganize Chogam, but sorry for that, but out of the 100 that had organized to attack us, 87 were put out of action. That is killing, and only 13 went back. They had come as civilians and put together all assembled bombs locally. By then,
there's a procedure matter. Procedure.
Madam Speaker, I know that the Honorable Sempija is 2 years old in that ministry. He may not know that several statements about Kasese and ADF have been presented to Parliament with a history that is repeating. So the procedure issue I am raising, Madam Speaker, is whether the minister who was instructed to present a statement on the attack in Kasese should lecture this Parliament as if we are in Chankwanzi about the history that has already been by Honorable Chiyonga, by Honorable Mbabazi. All the subsequent ministers of defense have given that information. Whether he should take us back to supply knowledge that we already have, instead of giving us knowledge that we don't have.
Honorable members, it is also a fact. It is also a fact that 85% of the members of this house have just been here for 2 years, who do not have that prior information that you had. Since for you, you've lived and grown up in this house. So let's, for the benefit of the people who have been here for 2 years, can please go on.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. I will be fast this time. But I wanted to inform the members of Parliament that at that time, that group which wanted to disorganize Chokam had come as civilians, and they combined when they reached here, and they were assembling bombs locally within and around Kampala. By then, they had also split up and attempted. What we did is to organize the intelligence, because when they split up and they start moving in small groups of 2 or 1 or 2 people, you have to use intelligence. And this was fought by knowing, following them up, and also arresting them. The ADF is a weak force, Madam Speaker and honorable members. Since the days of President Mobutu, it would have grown into a massive force. It has an anti-people philosophy and it does anti-people actions. During the regime of President Kabila, these ADFs were given liberty to stay in Congo. But since then, 20 years plus, they have remained weak. But 20 years is really a lot of time. It is the current regime of President, His Excellency Tshisekedi, which has helped us and accepted to work with us to enter Congo under Operation Suja to attack ADF from their safe haven in DRC. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the joint UPDF and FARDC is the army, is the equivalent of UPDF here. Operation Suja in Eastern DRC has been a success. Since its inception in November 2021, over 500 terrorists have been killed, including foreign fighters affiliated to other terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, and the Islamic State Central Africa Province, ISCAP. Over 50 have been captured, about 30 have surrendered on their own, and over 100 former abductees rescued, and various types and calibers of arms and ammunition and IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and ID making materials have been recovered. So a number a number of terror cells and collaborator networks, both within Uganda and in DRC, have also been destroyed. Life, I want to inform you, Right Honorable Speaker and the members, that life has also returned to normalcy in the areas of operation of the joint forces. Former abductees have returned to their homes. Schools, places of worship, and businesses have reopened, and abductions of the local people have been curtailed. Infrastructure, especially roads, have been either put in place or rehabilitated, which has eased the own movement of troops and supplies, goods and services for local business communities, and so on. The local communities in DRC are appreciative. Where we are, UPDF and ARDC, people are appreciative of the joint UPDF FARDC forces that have enabled this return to normalcy. I have organized a small map which is there. But you can see just a bit of that. The iPad, it is not there. So we are showing only that part around the Rwenzori, from the Kibale National Park down up to Queen Elizabeth National Park, Lake Edward down, and when you enter Congo, we are showing just from Bulibo through Virunga National Park, then Kasindi, Mpondwe. Where we had this problem is in Mpondwe, which I'm going to talk about. What you will know about Butembo, Butue, Kabasha, and Beni, and those mountains after the Rwenzori National Park. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the ADF is mostly in the northern parts of the road from Kasindi to Beni. You can see Kasindi, you can see Beni on the northwest. Kasindi in the middle, near Mpondwe and Beni. So the northern parts of that road and the south of the road is occupied by UPDF. And where the UPDF is operating from, life has come back to normal with the population settling back on economic production. For example, they have gone back to growing cocoa, coffee farming, cocoa and coffee. Shops are often open and schools are running. And all the shops, if I have to volunteer some information, are full of Ugandan goods. All these towns from Beni, Bunia, Kasindi, all of these when you go there. But that is something else. So in DRC, Right Honorable Speaker, where Congo allowed us to operate, ADF could not go to camp there. They now remained in small groups. I use the Uganda word bukunkumuka. Like a dry, when you have dry cow dung and you remove it, what remains is they are small. When you remove the ramp. So these remaining bukunkumuka, remnants, small scattered remnants that cannot attack barracks and police stations. But why do they attack civilians and schools and killing innocent innocent people? We are very sure that They do this to give themselves publicity, two, to make the world know that they are still there, but also detract us, UPDF, back from attacking them in Congo in their main camps. So we have denied them space locally, but we also need to finish them from where they are in their perennial hideouts in Congo. And this country should not remain in this panic forever. What the ADF is doing is not a sign of strength, but of weakness. Otherwise, why don't they attack military and police barracks or ambush army vehicles? As you know, Right Honorable, when you burn a log, even the ash, which we call a vu in Uganda, can go into your eyes and cause pain. The bukunkumuka should be wiped out, or a vu should be well swept, because all these can cause damage. They tried this in Ntoroko, December 13, 2022, and they were planning to do exactly what they did to this school recently. They were 51, but when they attacked, out of the 51, 26 were put out of action. Yes, we counted them. When you are fighting, you are not blind. We counted them. 26 were put out of action, and the bodies remained there. And the 25 were captured, and we have them in prison. When we capture them, we don't kill them. We put them in prison. This was a bigger and well-armed group that Rubiriha than that one of Rubiriha, the recent Kasese group, which was less than 10 terrorists. We are carrying out investigations, Right Honorable Speaker and members, to establish and get answers to some pertinent questions, which everyone, including the honorable members, is asking. One, why didn't people, both security and civilians, seize them? Two, why were there no identification or suspicion of new or strange faces? All of these will be answered by the investigations or the investigations that are going on. So the findings will avail these answers. We have already removed the logs, but we now need to remove the earth. Now this instant case, Right Honorable Speaker and members, on 16th June 2023, around 23 hours, that is about 11 p.m., suspected ADF rebels numbering between 5 to 10 attacked Peter Hunter Secondary School in Nyabigando. That same school is also known as Lubiriha Mpondwe Secondary School in Kasese district. Following the attack, Right Honorable, 37 students, one security guard who challenged them, and 4 other civilians were killed. But as I talk now, since yesterday we lost, that one made it 41, but we have also lost another person who was being under medical care. The first information to the nearby UPDF deployment was received at 23:30, that is after 30 minutes, from civilians, to the effect that students were on strike. The people around thought students were on strike, and they were burning the school on fire. This information was quickly shared with police deployed at Buera, and subsequently a joint UPDF and police force on wheels was dispatched to the scene. Routine foot patrols also joined the dispersed joint force to the scene of crime. Unfortunately, Honorable members, the attackers had retreated towards River Semuliki inside DRC, that is exactly down below Mpondwe, and eventually towards Virunga National Park. This Virunga National Park is an area that is not inhabited by human beings and therefore has no security deployment. But the ADF forces pursued the attackers southwards to River Lubiriha because they were expected to cross there, around 3 kilometers from the scene of crime. Despite that, at Honorable and the members, the pursuit continued, and on 19th June 2023 at around 14:30 hours, that is 2 p.m. here, 2:30 p.m., towards the confluence of rivers Semuliki and Taliha in DRC, the attackers who had made a hasty defensive position were attacked by a APDF mobile squad, where 3 enemies were killed, 1 submachine gun captured, 1 woman and 3 children rescued. In the initial planning at the start of Operation Suja, such diversionary acts by the enemy ADF were anticipated and taken care of. That is the reason rare deployments in the entire Rwenzori sub-region were maintained. For instance, when the same ADF group attempted to infiltrate in Toroko in December last year, even in bigger numbers as mentioned above, the whole group was annihilated owing to timely information from the civilian population. Unfortunately, in this case of Kasese, Lubiriha, the information was late, inaccurate, and a small group was able to infiltrate with the assistance of some collaborators. That is why some of them have already been arrested to help in investigations. Operation Suja, Right Honorable Speaker and members, was initiated partly to arrest the ADF terrorism from its source in DRC. The bombings in Kampala, for example, in November 2021, were organized from DRC. Had we not deployed in time, the situation would have been worse. In this particular incident, Right Honorable Speaker, this was an isolated one and is highly regrettable. However, it does not and will not deter our resolve and commitment to execute our constitutional mandate of defending the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Uganda in general, Kasese and the Rwenzori sub-region. In the pursuit for these criminals, Right Honorable and members, continues by the APDF in DRC, and we are continuing with the very deep investigations in order to understand the nitty-gritty aspects of this incident. And other and our forces and other security forces we are going on with the process of investigating these occurrences. Any elements found to have been an accomplice will be arrested and prosecuted as per laws of the country. We are also doing community sensitization and mobilization for vigilance, collaboration with security forces, and working with the security forces is also, we are doing this, and we are making sure that now the population is more vigilant in this affected area. And the general situation, as I talk today, has returned to normalcy. We appeal for calmness, vigilance, and cooperation from all citizens of goodwill in Rwenzori sub-region and the country at large, and as we continue to deliver on our constitutional mandate of preserving peace and security for person and property within this country and all round our territorial boundaries. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the country will be kept informed on any other developments regarding this incident and the situation in general. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank you, honorable members, for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, you've had a statement on what happened in Kasese. It was a very unfortunate incident. And of course, at the end of the day, you can't put a blame on anybody. It happened, and our security forces need to become more vigilant. Yes. Let me start with Kasese. We start with the Kasese people, then we go to the in-laws, to the relatives. Let's not take a lot of time because we are about to go to Prime Minister's time. And how I wish when you're discussing, we should be giving us a way forward. What do we do? Okay?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. To begin with, I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, because immediately I received the news, the tragic news, I contacted you. And I also contacted everybody in the security system, including the President. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you that not only you received my call, but you even opened your home for us to have a meeting and a way forward. And I'm meant to understand that we almost lost you because your pressure went up when you saw innocent citizens, school kids, or future engineers, or doctors, or priests, our judges murdered and brutally terminated their lives in a cold blood. We really want to appreciate you and the support that you gave us and all of the colleagues in the House that sent us their support and strength. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, Madam Speaker, I really want to thank the Minister for a comprehensive report. Speaker has just guided that we can't blame nobody. Yes, but I think it's critical and it's very important for us to say never again. Never again. Mr. Minister, you indicated in your report that 51 attackers in Interlocal, 26 put out of action, that's murdered, and 25 taken in captive by our forces. I wish the same really happened. The way forward, Madam Speaker, number one, specific prayer. We have about 5 people still in hospitals. My own estimation, Madam Speaker, is that where a hospital cannot manage their condition, and it's no wonder that yesterday we lost another life that was being managed in ICU at Ware Hospital. My prayer right now, because this can't wait, that government evacuates the 5 and they are taken to better equipped hospitals, specifically in Barrera Hospital, which is not really very far from Kasese, so that we don't, yes, we can't afford to lose another life. Madam Speaker, it pains me because the war man that died yesterday had lost a husband. So what are we going to tell these orphan kids, the only hope that they had was maybe the mother surviving to look after them. But I think we've gone through enough as a community. I'm asking this very government, Ministry of Health or Ministers for Health, Madam Speaker, through your directive, these citizens still fighting for their lives in where a hospital should immediately be evacuated, transferred to better hospital for further and better management. Number two, Madam Speaker, my prayer, and that is a way forward, as I conclude, a way forward. The President responded to our request as leaders from Kasese. Yes, $5 million was served to each bereaved family, and we're really thankful to the President and the CDF. But, Madam Speaker, we're asking for presence and deployment. The entire Kasese is insecure. The lake communities, the mountainous communities, and urban and village communities. Madam Speaker, we're asking that deployment that relates to the threat should be scaled up, and our capabilities, both soft and hardware capabilities, should be scaled up in that community. And, Madam Speaker, very lastly, I'm asking that instead of our sons and daughters going back to their homes, because that is what the parents ask for, that this Parliament directs the Minister for Defense, Internal Affairs, and Security to ensure that the students, specifically the school,
an anthem in that order.